Good morning, everybody. How's it going today? We've made it. This is the end. We have made it to the end of the free agency primer. This will be my final video evaluating the 2022 NFL free agency class from a Seahawks perspective. Basically, taking a look at positions of need or potential need and evaluating who the Seahawks might be interested in signing if they decide to address that need here. So it's been a long road. It was made a little bit longer when the Seahawks announced that they were going to be switching to a hybrid defense, but we've done a lot of good work here. We've covered a lot of ground here, and I think there's a very good chance a lot, if not all, of our activities over the next couple months in free agency could have been something that we talked about here. So, last position today, it is inside linebacker. And this one's going to be pretty simple and honestly very easily will be something that isn't even worth much consideration at all. So, in a 3-4 defense, you've got two inside linebackers. I don't think there's a huge difference between playing middle or will linebacker in a 4-3 and playing inside in a 3-4. There is a difference. I think most of those guys can transition fairly well. And if I take a look at the team in its current state, Jordan Brooks, he's going to be one of the inside linebackers. I think that's going to be good. I think he can do that. I don't think that's going to be a problem. As of right now, Bobby Wagner is still under contract. He's going to be your other starter. And then you have Cody Barton and Ben Burke-Irvin behind them. That's a fine depth chart for inside linebacker. You're probably going to have one guy on the practice squad too. I don't know if it's going to be maybe Lakiem Williams. It could be Aaron Donkor. I don't know how we view those guys, but odds are good that if we bring back Wagner, the depth chart at inside linebacker is set. And I would not want to bring in any kind of free agent to add on to that. I think that's fine as is. But if you cut Bobby Wagner, which I think is a possibility as well, then you have Cody Barton starting, and I'm not comfortable with that. And it's too bad that I'm not, because I think Cody Barton, in theory, is a great complement to Jordan Brooks, but I'm not seeing the confidence from the front office, and I'm not seeing the ability from him yet. I think he can cover, which is nice, but I don't think it's enough to actually be a starter. So if we cut Bobby to save $16.6 million, who can we go get to replace his position for a lot less money? All right, so we're going to go through the list here. I'm going to take a look at linebackers who have played in a 3-4 specifically, but I think that most of these guys can probably do it, but just because we're trying to emphasize the 3-4 part, we're going to take a look at 3-4 guys. Okay, the first guy is Ayaan Brown from the Tennessee Titans, just turned 27, and the Titans, they've got some money issues. They've got to try to re-sign Harold Landry. They've got some things they got to do, so Ayaan Brown, very likely to hit the market in a week, or now less than a week. So this is a guy who's had a pretty good career in Tennessee. Played in a 3-4, I think, the whole time he was there. Had one season with 6 sacks. Had a season with 100 tackles. Pretty good in coverage as well. His coverage metrics are pretty solid. The thing is, Ayaan Brown did not play well at all in 2021. He only played in 10 games for one. He actually came off the bench in 4 of them. His numbers were generally down, and his PFF grade was low, 51.2. Don't really know what happened, because if you look at these previous years, like 2020, 66.3, very good, or good. 2019, very good, 72. And I think in 2018, he was 81 plus. So I don't know exactly what went wrong in 2021, but he was definitely diminished in his role. And because of that, he's probably not going to cost a ton of money. I don't know exactly what you would be looking at with Ayaan Brown. Maybe you could get him for like $4 million a year. Maybe he would take a 1-year prove-it deal for $4 million, $5 million. I don't know exactly where it is right now. He's missed some games lately. He played 10 games in 2020 and 14 in 2019. So he hasn't played a full season since 2018. He's never started more than 14 games, but I don't know how the market's going to perceive him. He's an inside linebacker. What he does is not going to be that valuable to the league. That's one thing to remember. Most teams do not value inside linebackers unless they're all world. And Jayon Brown, with his play last year, is very clearly not all world. So you could lose Bobby, save 16.6, and then put 4 or 5 million of that towards Jayon Brown. And I think you're getting a guy who should be a good complement to Brooks, because Brooks struggles in coverage, and Jayon Brown, I think he's pretty good at that, looking at his metrics. So this would be a lead candidate if you want to make a little bit of an investment into the position, and I would definitely be excited to bring him on. Okay, the next guy we're going to take a look at here is A.J. Johnson, turned 30 a couple months ago from the Denver Broncos. So as a Bronco, he played under Vic Fangio, and now we're doing all this Fangio stuff, so that's kind of appealing. He is a guy who only played in 6 games in 2021, and then he got hurt. He's getting a little older, so there are some warning flags here, but he hasn't been playing football for that long, actually. He didn't actually have a full season until he was 28, so the miles on his body do not equal to what his age says that he is. He's had a couple of big seasons. 2020 he had 124 tackles. 2019 had almost 100. So pretty good. His coverage numbers, to my overall, I would say the coverage numbers are mostly pretty good. Seems like he can cover a little bit better than a guy like a Jordan Brooks, who, based off last year, really just can't do it. PFF really liked him in 2021 for the 6 games that he played. Before then, obviously, it takes a bit of a hit, but not a terrible one. 65.4, good. 2019, 88.5. So this guy's always been pretty good according to PFF, and in some cases has been extremely good. So this is a guy who, coming off a significant injury with only 1 full season under his belt, but having had pretty rave reviews, I don't know what you're looking at with him. He's probably going to be looking to get some long-term money. Might be a 3-year deal worth 15 to 18 million. So this would be another player you could go get if you want to make a serious investment. But I got to tell you, I kind of favor the idea of going bargain bin here, because inside linebackers in a 3-4, if you take care of the stuff around them, they can do well even if they're not the greatest players. So even though Alexander Johnson is clearly very good and has 3-4 experience, I kind of favor the next 3 guys. The first guy would be Christian Kirksey, and this guy might be a little too bargain basement because he's, well, you'll see. So Christian Kirksey is going to turn 30 before the season starts, and one thing that's appealing about him is he's versatile. In 2021, he played in a 4-3. In 2020, he played in a 3-4. For the 3 years prior in Cleveland, he played in a 4-3. And then the 3 years prior, he played in a 3-4. So he has proven the ability to have some staying power as a 3-4 player and a 4-3 player. And remember, we were talking about versatility. We're doing this hybrid defense. It's got to be pretty appealing to be able to have that versatility. He's had a couple seasons with around 140 tackles. He had the season last year, almost 100 tackles. But PFF has a hate boner for this guy. They gave him a 50 grade in 2021. Now, he was playing with the Texans. Understandable. But 2020, playing with one of the best teams in the league, playing in most of the games, his grade was worse. 44. Atrocious. Playing for the Packers. And if you go back to 2019, not really that much better. 48. 2018, wow. I mean, look, I absolutely think PFF has some blind spots and gets some things wrong. But this is noteworthy, right? You have to go back to 2017 to find an even okay grade. And then 2016, pretty good grade, a 67.5, solid. And that was one of the years he was playing in a 3-4, so I guess maybe you could draw some attention to that. His best year, albeit 6 years ago, was in a 3-4. A lot of the seasons he's had since that have been pretty bad were where he was playing in a 4-3. He's also missed a lot of games lately. This might be like a $2 million a year guy. 2.5, maybe 3, and possibly 1 year as well. So Christian Kirksey is a pretty good option if you're trying to bargain bin basement this, and I think that's a pretty good idea. The next guy we're going to talk about is Reggie Ragland of the New York Giants. He was making basically vet min money in New York, and he probably would again wherever he goes next. So Reggie Ragland was a second-round pick of Buffalo and then never actually played for them. He landed in Kansas City and ended up winning a Super Bowl with them. His play was up and down, but one thing that Reggie Ragland offers is versatility, because the first couple years he was playing in a 3-4, and then he played in a 4-3 in 2019, and then in Detroit, and then in 2021 he switched back to a 3-4. He's played in a lot of games. He hasn't missed that many games in his career. He's never started a full season's worth of games, but he's had some pretty decent seasons. 86 tackles in 2018. Had a couple sacks in 2019 playing in a 4-3. The coverage numbers are not great, which kind of puts me off him a little bit. But the ability to have a passable starter for maybe $1.5 million or even less does kind of appeal to me. PFF grade for 2021, playing on a terrible Giants team, was decent. In 2020 for the Lions, it was really bad, but it's the Lions. Winning the Super Bowl with the Chiefs, he was a 68, so he had a good grade in 2019. The year before that, not very good. And then his first year, actually really solid, 78. So there's a little something here with Reggie Ragland. He might be a guy that I would gravitate towards if we lose Bobby. Final guy is going to be Kenny Young, also a member of the Denver Broncos, formerly a Ram, formerly a Raven, always been in a 3-4 defense, and also probably going to be rather cheap. Maybe not as much as Reggie Ragland, though, which is a little bit troubling, because if you take a look at Kenny Young, you'll see a guy who's turned 27 in November, so he's still relatively young. He was a 4th-round pick. He's been, I think, traded twice in his career. He's switched teams quite a bit. He's had some fairly prolific moments in the NFL. He had 50 tackles as a rookie on I think that was actually not the Lamar MVP year, but then he went to the Rams, he went to the Broncos. He's put up some good numbers and done some good things, and it's always been in a 3-4 defense, which is obviously appealing to us, but PFF has an extremely bad take on him. They gave him a PFF grade of 50.6 for the most recent season. The year before that, 41.6, 53.8 the year before. I don't think he's ever had a good PFF grade. It's always been in the red, or at least the orange. And again, PFF misses stuff. PFF misinterprets stuff. But the fact that this guy has changed teams 3 times in 4 years, or twice in 4 years, indicates that they may be onto something. My impression is that he's not very good in coverage, which is not what we're looking for here. Seems to be a decent playmaker, but there seems to be a little bit of an issue with him from snap to snap. I guess that's the way I would put it. But you could probably get him for very, very cheap. I would say $2 million, but I'd rather spend a little less money on Reggie Ragland if given the choice. But nevertheless, Kenny Young remains an option if Wagner is moved on from. And that's it. We're done, guys. So hope that was fun and educational for y'all. We covered a lot of ground, and hopefully some of this research that I did ends up going to good use. Obviously, there are players that I passed over who are potentially worth talking about for at least a little bit, but you're never going to get everybody. And yeah, I think we're ready to walk into the free agency portion of the offseason fairly well educated and ready to see what the Seahawks do. So let me know what you think of these guys down below. Did I forget anybody that you would like to put out there? How do you feel about the 3-4 to 4-3 linebacker thing? Playing inside in a 3-4 versus playing Mike or Will in a 4-3? Let me know what you think. I will see you guys later. We are days away. And as always, go Hawks.